Hello guys, today I'm going to show you how you can delete data through an API using Jquery AJAX with a client-server architecture. If you are new to this video, then we have two projects here. One is the API and the other one is the client side, or you can say the .NET Core application with just a front end. So what we are going to do is you create two different projects, one for the API, like you can see the ASP.NET Core Web API, okay, this one, and the client will be the ASP.NET Core Web App, the model view controller. So what do we have in the API? Uh, when you have the blank project, you need to set up the connection string inside the app settings.json. After you have this settings, then you install the NuGets, which are these. Okay, instead of this one, the Visual Studio.web code generation, the remaining all are required. Swashbuckle will be auto generated. After you install all these NuGets, it's time to set up the model class, which is this one, two, three, 4 columns, and that creates a database like this, and you have to insert records in it. And after that, you set up the program.cs class to have this one builder.services.add controllers with views.add Newtonsoft. This one is for the JSON serialization and deserialization. Usecores is app.usecores. This one is required to communicate with the front end, and this statement is required in both the client and the server. So on the client part also, you will see the app.usecores. Okay. Yeah, client will not have many things. Now, after the program.cs, you create a web API controller, not just a normal controller. This is a web API controller. Okay. In the controllers folder, you right click on it, add new controller. My program is running, so it's not showing. There would be two, web API and the normal controller. Select the web API. You should have these two tags on the beginning of the project, so that makes sure that this is an API controller and it's inheriting from the controller class, not the controller base class. Okay, there is a controller base, not that one, just the controller, because that won't if you have the controller base, it will not return a JSON. Okay, it will not allow you to return JSON. Okay, now that is all about the API. If we look at the front end, this one is an MVC project. When you have the MVC project, you created a simple student controller, and that doesn't have many things. Just to generate the views, you have simple action results. So index, create, and edit. Here we will only be using the index part. Create and edit is covered in the previous videos. We don't need them here. Now, in the index part, okay, let me give you a brief idea again. App settings, we don't have anything there, no connection strings in the app setting. Program.cs is only for the use course, app.use course, nothing more. Students controller, you saw that. Now in the index, we will first of all have this bootstrap table to fill up all our data. So we are retrieving the data here. In the script section, you mention all your Jquery AJAX codes here, the functions and the callouts. Okay, so get data is receiving all our data in a tabular format. Okay, and also it's generating the edit and delete button. So we are passing the item.id, the ID, the row ID we are passing in the value. And now after getting the data, you have to use the delete function. So here, how is delete called? On clicking the delete link. Okay, so A2 is my name of the delete link. If you look at here, you see this is A2. Okay, ID is A2, and now I'm calling the ID A2.click, and when it's clicking, it will ask you for a confirmation. Are you sure you want to delete this? If yes, then it's calling the AJAX function, which is going to hit the API with the serial number. Okay, and look at this format. Okay, this format is different in different scenarios. For edit, it's a different format. For insert, it's a different format, and for delete, it's this format. So what we are doing, the API URL slash the ID. Okay, parameter is passed like this, and if it's a success, then it will say that the record is deleted. If not, then it will give us the error response, and if there is an error, then it will show up in the console. Okay, now yeah, so the output goes like this. This is for the API, and this is for the front end. So yes, okay, let me give you a small idea of how things are going on. Delete records through the web API using jQuery. So create a delete API in .NET Core MVC. uh, Display a confirmation when we want to delete, or you press on the delete button, and then we call that API URL using the delete request from the Jquery AJAX. Now the on-click function, so pretty much self-explanatory. You can see that if confirmed, then it will go to the delete data record. Now this is the delete action method, which is using SQL connection and the SQL query to delete the record. And if there is no record existing, then it will say record not found. If there is an error, it will go to the bad request. Now After finding the record, this
Ajax
is call
going.
which is calling the delete request. Yeah, so this request is called by the Ajax call, this one. And yeah, if it finds any response, it will give us that response. If it's a success function, then it will give us the record deleted. If not, it will give us the error message. And if there is an error, then it will show on the console. Now looking at the API part, delete requires one value, that is the ID, and that is fetched when we are clicking on the delete. If you see here, if I press on the delete, you see it's hitting the debugger, and it's giving me the confirmation whether you want to delete. You see where X is catching the value which is going to be deleted, or the ID. And if I press are you sure, then it's going to delete. If cancel, then it's returning false. Now let's try to delete one record. Let's say I want to delete Olamba from Africa. Now it's going to ask me if I really want to delete. If yes, now it's going to hit the API. So API is hit now. It came back to our browser. Record deleted. So it says deleted. Okay. So the record has been deleted now. Let's see that in the database. Olamba is 2010 row 8. Now 2010 is gone. Okay. All right, guys. So that was all for this video. Nothing much to explain more. I'll put the descriptions, the links for the GitHub on the description, so that will be easier for you to understand. Uh, After completing this process of insert, update, and delete, we will move on to another one that will show the value of these people. So we will have a semester, and if I'm selecting one record from the top table, it's going to give me the semester results for that respective person on a table below. Okay, so stay tuned, stay connected, and until then, happy coding. Thank you.